Well, good Saturday morning. We've been trying to keep you posted on all platforms to let you know really where we are with this system. It's been a very impactful system with a lot of different elements to it. So as we look at the big picture, we are seeing the actual system. It's now formed. It's moving through Texas as we speak and continuing to lift towards the north and northeast. The key with this forecast is where the track and the low of the system actually is. That's really going to be the bigger driving force to what type of precipitation we see. So with the system right now, you can see we've got all types of precipitation, especially moving through Dallas. They are literally seeing a little bit of it all. But we've also seen quite a few reports of some snowfall, even here a little bit locally. I'll break down that here in a few minutes, but I also want to point out some of the reports that we've actually seen, the local storm reports in those spots. You can see we've got snow reports, we've got ice, we've got rain in a few spots. So this is just more confirmation that we are going to see a lot of the same as we head on into later today. Right now, we've actually already had a few reports. We'll try and pull it up here, of some actual confirmation of some flurries falling in areas right around Fountain City, Halls, Athens. Chattanooga has now transitioned into that kind of that switch over into primarily snow, at least for the time being. The airport is getting reports of some light graupel beginning to fall, so that's going to be kind of the evolution of things as we continue to go throughout this morning and into the afternoon. Now, we also have a special treat this morning. We do have Kyle Granger. He is live right now. So let's get to Kyle. He's all bundled up. Tell us what you're seeing and what you're expecting over there.
Well, we were talking just before this started. I wasn't seeing anything in Gatlinburg, and I said, I'm ready to talk about something. Well, you may not see it on the camera. It's very hard for me to see even in person, but there are very, very small light flurries that are falling out of the sky and just kind of flying around right here in Gatlinburg. So nonetheless, we have those clouds overhead, which are probably dropping a few of those flurries. I still think we're a little too dry right here in Gatlinburg to have a big snow at this point, but we'll continue to get the atmosphere moistened up here and watch for it to change over as we go over the next couple of hours. Sevier County started treating their roads yesterday. The National Park closed 441 between Gatlinburg and Cherokee, North Carolina. So a lot of preparations have been underway in advance of the snow today and the icing factor that we expect to happen overnight tonight, Sydney.
Exactly. And Kyle, I appreciate all your hard work. I will say, are you staying warm out there?
Staying warm, hopping back inside as fast as I can.
Well, you stay warm. We'll get back to you a little bit later here. And I will say also, Kyle has been talking about how they've been treating the roads. That has been a big thing with the last couple of days. We've been fortunate enough to where we've been mainly dry to where they have been able to actually treat the roads. And that actually has placed, due to all the information that we have seen, that has put Tennessee in a state of emergency. So Governor Bill Lee has in fact declared this a state of emergency for all 95 Tennessee counties ahead of this weekend system. So we're looking at a lot of those impacts as we go throughout the weekend, even lingering into next week. That's going to be a big thing we got to watch very closely. Overall, the resources have been amazing. I was seeing some of the trucks out and about, and so it's really been incredible to see them being proactive to help us out, make sure we're staying safe heading on into the weekend and preparing for this. Also working with the Red Cross and other shelters to make sure warming centers are available, because temperatures are going to be key with this system, not only for this weekend, but especially moving on into early next week. So in addition to that, we've got a lot of things here we are unpacking here. We are also looking at. So yes, and so back to the fact that our state is in fact under a state of emergency that has been declared for all 95 counties in Tennessee for this weekend. And so that is something we are watching very closely and appreciate all their efforts.
Prepare now for what's coming. We have great weather service partners. We know there are certain things that we can do now and not do when the precipitation is here and the danger rises.
TDOT says they'll shift staff to make sure they have coverage around the clock to treat the roads and help people who do in fact get stuck. So good to know that they are continuing to keep us prepped and ready no matter what. Yeah, you can see these conditions can change rapidly. So there is a lot of preps that go into play. It depends a lot on temperatures as well. And I will say with this particular event, we're looking at a very icy situation. It may start out as snow, but then we see that transition into ice, and it really becomes a big deal when we start to ultimately see not only sleet, but freezing rain. Freezing rain is the driving factor, no pun intended there, for what we are actually going to see those impacts. So road conditions will be impacted over the next couple of days, especially into those overnight hours tonight and yet again on Sunday night. So lots to watch there. Now, I do want to give you a quick update on our forecast here because we do have a lot to unpack with it. Current conditions still showing the track of the system moving its way out of Texas within, I would say, the next couple of hours, but it has got a lot of different types of precipitation with it. That is why the system has been incredibly tricky. So with that in mind, out ahead of it, you can see we're seeing a lot of snow actually into parts of western Tennessee, so Memphis, and now starting to approach our area. And so again, that'll be something that we're continuing to track throughout the day. We're just now at the early onset of seeing the initial arrival of the system. So again, these reports just confirming areas further west and southwest of us already seeing all sorts of mixed precipitation. Take a look at this. This is I-40, and you can see the roads are completely covered with snow and possibly some ice likely mixing in with this as the day moves on. It's actually kind of incredible that we have some of these images now that the sun is up. Helps us better paint the picture to really what you can expect as the day moves on. Now, just to keep in mind, some of the areas west of us are likely to be in more of an impactful situation, and we'll probably see a little bit more snow and ice versus us, but I don't want y'all to take that lightly. We will still, in fact, see those impacts all across the board here. Now, I will say some local reports that we have continued to see is we've seen some flurries, Found City, Halls, Athens. The airport has seen some graupel likely mixed in. And so that has continued to be something that we're watching as we continue to see the system get a little bit closer. Use this as a time to kind of prep and prepare, make sure you're where you want to be as we start to see those conditions deteriorate very quickly into later this afternoon and into the evening. Now we're going to take a closer look at the full forecast, kind of break down a few elements with it, and really what you can expect, especially with timing. I know a lot of people want to know, okay, when are we going to see the conditions really start to change? Well, as we go throughout the morning, we will start to see the arrival of snow. This is our current radar right now. So if you've downloaded our First Alert Weather app, great tool to have, especially throughout the day, because we will continue to update this forecast as we get a little bit further into the day. Right now, you might be seeing quite a bit of snow and you're wondering, okay, where is all the snow? Well, we've got a very dry atmosphere, so it doesn't necessarily mean that the snow is reaching the ground. You might see a few flakes, maybe some graupel, maybe some sleet, freezing rain starting to mix on in, but it's not actually going to cause a big issue just yet. That changes though. As we go throughout the day, we will start to see this really begin to impact us. So travel is going to be impacted. We highly advise not getting out on the roads if you can do so, especially later today. Of course, airport travel is going to be a whole nother picture moving forward, not only for this weekend, but likely into early next week. So with the latest timing of things, yes, we've got snow working on in. I'm still thinking we will see primarily snow initially, and then we start to see that quick transition into freezing rain and sleet. Again, sleet's not really the big concern for us. It's freezing rain, and then that starts to really stick around through the majority of the afternoon and into the evening. This is where things start to get a little bit dicey. So this is why you want to make sure you're already where you want to be for the weekend as these conditions start to escalate throughout the afternoon and evening. Now, once we get closer towards midnight, we start to see a little bit more rain work in. And yes, that helps us out a little bit, cuts down on those ice accumulations, but it's not necessarily telling the entire story here. We've got temperatures borderline freezing. If we go 1 degree a little bit warmer, sorry, my voice is kind of going there. If we go 1 degree warmer or colder, our conditions will change drastically. So that's just a reminder that whatever we end up seeing throughout the day is going to be very dependent on our temperatures. So once we get into early tomorrow morning, we ultimately see that transition into all rain. So by sunrise Sunday morning, I'm anticipating most of us seeing primarily rain. You may see a little bit of some lingering freezing rain initially before we transition into rain. But Sunday really helps us out in the sense that we've got periods of rain. It could be heavy at times. It's a cold rain all throughout the day on Sunday. Don't let your guard down. This helps us, yes, but as we go closer towards sunset and thereafter, thank you very much. Needed a little bit of water here. I'm telling you, this atmosphere is incredibly dry here. So as we go further into the forecast on Sunday, we do ultimately see that transition into possibly some flakes, a little bit of a wintry mix on the back side of this system. It's what we call wraparound moisture. So yes, you might see a few lingering flakes lingering into early Monday morning. But even if you don't see that, and we're looking at primarily rain on Sunday, the key with this system is a lot of rain throughout the day on Sunday, and really anything that has fallen throughout the weekend has the potential to what we call flash freeze into early next week. Temperatures will plummet Sunday night into Monday, and they continue to tumble into Tuesday morning. So I'm really anticipating us seeing lingering effects into early next week, even with rain on the horizon for us. So we've got all types of winter weather precipitation headed our way throughout this weekend. It's just a good reminder. Download our app, stay with us. We will be here all day long, all throughout all different types of platforms. So just a good reminder for that. And so that's kind of the breakdown of our overall forecast for today. We're still fine-tuning it. We're still getting those last-minute details, but this is going to be a very impactful system. So I want to also just take a closer look at some of these cameras back towards Memphis, because these are really telling the story. And this is now, as we're starting to get a little bit more data, we can really fine-tune the forecast. Look at these roads. Yes, we see a car there. Would not recommend traveling, though. It's one of those systems where conditions are going to be impacted very quickly, especially as we see that transition into freezing rain. So snow initially, not necessarily a big concern, but as far as the freezing rain goes, that's when we really start to see that glaze of ice work on in. Now, out ahead of this system, some schools have already made some preps to handle what is going to happen into early next week and this weekend. So we've already seen some things have been canceled. So if you're trying to, take a look, make sure you're staying up to date with everything. Some of these activities have been canceled due to the inclement weather. So just make sure you're staying tuned with those. There's also been some school closings that have been already posted on our website. You can stay with us as we continue to possibly add to that in the next couple of days. So they're trying to get ahead of the system. So we've got school closings, we've got activities canceled. There's a lot to unpack with this. In addition to this system is still evolving. So just a quick reminder that we are still tracking the impacts of the system. We're still going to be fine-tuning it even throughout the day. So as we do this, we will be posting in our app. I'll be posting on social media. Make sure you're following our entire weather team. We've got all hands on deck so we can make sure y'all are prepared for whatever happens as the day does move on. But we've got some impactful weather ahead for us. Again, just a good reminder, download our app. Stay with us all day long. We will be sure to keep you posted. It's a great tool to have. You can also look at the current radar conditions as the system approaches us. So thank you so much for joining us, and continue to stay with us throughout the day.